Barely 6 weeks to the governorship election in Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State chapter of the All Progressives Congress is yet to inaugurate its governorship campaign council, and that's no thanks to the protracted crisis rocking the party. The other major parties in the state, that's the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, the Young Progressive Party, and the New Nigeria People's Party, have concluded touring 31 local government areas of the state, and they have gone far in the word-to-word tour. Observers have wondered the magic that APC would perform to cover the whole local government if it eventually flags off its campaign, considering the paucity of time. Joining me is a member of the All Progressives Congress in Akwa Ibom, Imalbong Akban, and also joining me is a member of the All Progressives Congress as well, and a former Minister of Communications, Adebayo Shitu. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Good to have you join us. Let me begin with you, former Minister. I'm sure you followed the conversation we had earlier about the current situation in the country and how it might impact the chances of your party in the forthcoming election. I want you to respond to that before we move to politics in Akwa Ibom State.
Well, what has happened very unfortunately. It's a very regrettable thing that Nigerians are not, many Nigerians are not in a position to rationalize, to see that what government does is not necessarily what the party has authorized to be done. There's a leadership of government and there's a leadership of the party. That is the national chairman and other executives of the party. Government does not consult the party when it is taking actions, particularly in the area of this currency redesigning. Is a purely the effort or the action of the Buhari administration, which unfortunately a lot of people would think that that Tinubu, our presidential candidate, must be held vicariously liable for whatever shortcomings of the government. I think this is most unfair because we are, just like any other member of the population, of the electorate, we're hearing it and we all are feeling the impact of, if I may say, of the currency redesigning. But I think we should rely on the fact that within the last 24 hours, Mr. President, that is President Muhammad Buhari, has asked all Nigerians to give him 7 days within which to redeem the image of the government, by doing the needful to ensure that the populace have access to their monies, whether, old notes or new notes. So we would hope that, of course, a lot of damage has already been done to the psyche of the average electorate. People have even died in bank halls. People have suffered all kinds of indignities. They have their monies in the bank. They cannot have access to it to feed their families and to do their businesses. This certainly is not what is expected of the government. I am an APC person. I'm not an enemy of the government, but, in the Yoruba we have this adage that akiri igbelara kakpe iniere. You cannot say because something is close to you, so when it does, anything which is untoward, you think you should cover it. I don't believe in that. So we must tell ourselves the home truth. The management of the currency redesign is certainly...
We've seen how people are responding to this particular issue state to state. So let me bring in the member of All Progressives Congress in Akwa Ibom State, Imalbong Akban, where the APC is currently facing an uphill task as crisis, festers in that party. Let me ask you, Mrs. Akban, your thought again. How is your party faring in Akwa Ibom State? There is crisis within your party. You barely. Right now you are surviving by the ruling of an appeal court that Akani should continue to be, Dofia should continue to be your candidate. But talk to us about what's happening within your party and your chances in Akwa Ibom.
All right, thank you very much for having me. It's been challenging for some months and some weeks now, given that every other party had started campaigning very early, and we're just trying to play catch up right now. But I think we're making progress. We're actually waiting for the court ruling that actually eventually identified Obong as the APC candidate. We have just a few weeks to elections, but the good thing is that behind the scenes, on the ground, we've been working, the party has been working, we've been mobilizing, and the results had showed forth in the recent presidential rally that held here in Rio a few days back. And you could see the massive turnout. One good thing that works for APC is that members of the party naturally love the party. And because they've actually been playing opposition politics, it's not difficult to get them out to support, especially without necessarily inducing them financially. As a matter of fact, most people were looking for buses to actually join, which was actually very insufficient. So at the moment, leaders are coming
just
together.
To quickly comment, because you said that the state, people in the state naturally love your party, but it doesn't change the fact that look.
No, I said members of the party.
Or members of the party. All right. Thanks for the correction.
Yes.
But
yes.
Let's talk about the fact that you have a governorship aspirant who has now headed to Supreme Court to get ruling. He has challenged the judgment of the appeal court, and he has headed to the Supreme Court. How is your party reacting to this? And are you worried that perhaps you might not have a candidate, or you might be too late in terms of your preparations for the governorship election in Akwa Ibom?
I'm very positive APC will have a candidate. And I believe either way, however the Supreme Court judgment turns out, whether it will favor Senator Ipaina or the current candidate, Obong Kanimodofia, we're fine. But for sure, I'm very positive. APC will have a candidate. There is a need to present a political alternative for the people, because the state governments, the current administration, they've extremely failed the indigents of the states. There are a lot of complaints. It seems Governor Domi Manuel isn't too sensitive to the plight of the people. He has fallen short. He's come short on a whole lot, from not paying pensions to students' complaints to so much hunger, so much poverty. And a lot of persons are just getting by in an oil-rich state such as us. And so there is a need for the people to have a viable alternative to give expression to their yearnings politically. So APC actually is that party that people have actually been looking forward to. I can't even tell you the number of persons who have started reaching out to me before now that they can't wait for APC to have a candidate. Right. And if you had followed up some the development of events, the moment appeal court had announced a candidate for APC, that's in the person of Obong Udofia.
Let me get
so much excitement, even across party lines. So many people across party lines had reached out to support him, not just the APC members.
Let me get in the former minister into the conversation. Ms. Adebayo Shitu, I'm sure you've been following the conversation, following what she said. But it is not just in Akwa Ibom alone where these issues are on. In the south, people are already saying, look, the APC doesn't have, especially at the presidential national level, you might not have what it takes to win any state in the south. The only state you have right now is Cross River. The PDP seems to have a very strong hold, and then the Labour Party seems to be gaining some sort of foothold in the south, and that's according to calculations by some analysts. What are your party's chances, especially at the presidential level, of winning any state at all in the south?
Well, it would be most unfair to assume that because there are crises in political parties, so those parties, you should be expecting a zero results in elections. You see, going to court for those who are displeased with one decision or the other is part of democracy. People have a right to go to court if they feel dissatisfied with one judgment or another. The Supreme Court itself is very sensitive, and I am very sure that in the next few days, the Supreme Court will do the needful to give final decision on all contending issues. So I want to believe, like the last speaker has said, with or without a judgment, people have been working, behind the scene to ensure that the popularity of APC is sustained all across the country. The PDP, which has dominated the South-South politics.
Mr. Adebayo Shitu, even while there are issues in this state, would that affect your chances? Because again, these are state issues. But do you think that this would also play out on the February 25th poll, or do you think that your party members will be able to pull it together to work together for your presidential candidate?
You would be surprised at the outcome of. You would be surprised. The first election, which is coming up, is the presidential election. So it does not, have much to do with local politics within party members. Where you have even division in each state, you would agree with me that all the contending interests will all work towards the success of our presidential candidate. So, and they know that each of the contending interests has a lot to gain by the victory of our presidential candidate. So I don't see any South state where APC will not have a minimum 25%, even though the ultimate is the best that we are looking for, to be able to win control of all the states. So no matter what the divisions are, everybody would hope that the final judgment may be in his favor. So they'll be working very hard for the party to ensure that if eventually they are the favored at the Supreme Court level, they'll be able to, eventually work within the short time remaining to win ultimately.
Let me get the final word from Imobong. When are you starting your campaign? Because right now, other parties have gone ahead to tour the 31 local governments and wards, but you haven't seemed to have started your campaign. When would that start? When would the APC start? And then how optimistic are you about your chances in the South?
Okay. Especially here in Akwa Ibom State, we had actually started campaigning, although not on an official note. Today, actually, coincidentally, is when we are launching our campaign structure officially, but unofficially, we've been campaigning. We've been on ground, doing units and water and all of the plannings and strategizing necessary for politicking. And concerning our chances as a party in the South, I'm very positive, and there's a lot of, as you can see, we are having so much support even across party lines. Like, for example, in Rivers State, we've started seeing a lot of the media assistants to Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. A lot of government officials have started changing their profile pictures to that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the APC's presidential candidate, and that speaks volume. And across different states, we're very positive that despite the challenges we're currently seeing, and people are following up what is happening, especially with the scarcity of cash and the fuel. People can see that there's a whole lot of sabotaging happening, coming from different quarters, and this has nothing to do with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And as a matter of fact, the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar was actually nudging the civilian governor, on, and then the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi has been very quiet. This speaks volumes.
I would like to give the last
coincidentally,
word.
It is Tinubu who is speaking up.
Those are basically speculations, and I don't want to speak based on
positive.
speculations. But let me give the last word to the former Minister of Communications, Mr. Adebayo Shitu.
Right.
Talk to us in just 30 seconds. Give us your last word in terms of your chances.
Well, our presidential candidate has said in Abeokuta, whether they hide money or they don't hide money, whether they hide currency or they don't, whether they hoard petrol or not, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has made his mark in this country, and we need to give thanks to northern governors who have persistently assured of every support from the north. You know that as of today, it is the northern governors that are the most effective leaders in the north. They are the greatest influencers of the electorate in their respective states, and I am confident that the result of their efforts would result in massive support for our presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, thank you so much, former Minister of Communications, Adebayo Shitu, as well as the member of Progressive Congress, Akwa Ibom, Imobong Akpan. Thank you both for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.